Hello and welcome to another exciting episode of Cooking with Unity. I'm your host, Maximilian Moreau, and with me is my co-host, Philip Wilson.
I'm a co-host.
Yes, you are. You're much more than a lowly tech. So, you weren't a lowly tech before either.
Oh, okay,
that was a place of importance as well. So, I think this is just a little high. All right. Sorry, I was adjusting the microphone. So, first off, we're not continuing the Star Fox today. We're actually going to be doing mini-maps. We're just going to do a little high-level overview. I don't have the full hour today because I have a meeting that I have to go to for my job. But I wanted to start with something real quick. Let me switch to just my face here. So I was going through my old Ninja Powers, and I found something that I just wanted to share with you guys. I'm going to try and get a scan for this too, but I just want to show this on the show because I thought it was so funny. This has some information about SimCity as it was coming out for Super Nintendo. I just want to show you this picture of Will Wright and Shigeru Miyamoto. Look how young they are. Let me try and get that. Is that on the screen? Can you see that?
Yeah, it looks like it's on the screen.
Okay. But yeah, look how young those two are. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I just thought it was really funny, I guess everyone's young at some point, but it's just wild to see both of those classic designers just so young and still doing this stuff. And the other thing that was funny is it mentions that the Super Nintendo version might not come out for us, but it was totally going to come out on the NES. But the actual reality of what happened is it never came out on the NES for either us or Japan, and it totally came out on Super Nintendo for everyone. So. Sorry about that aside. I just thought it was kind of fun.
Remember, don't worry about getting the Super Nintendo version because you're going to get the NES version.
Also, latest version of Unity has a quad built in. It's like a birthday present. They even have a smiley face in on the release notes. Check it out. It's hilarious.
Yeah, it's like, oh, and a quad smiley.
So let's get started on the actual episode. So we are on a completely blank slate here. It's fun. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to do a mini-map. And what I mean by a mini-map is basically like an overhead view of the action that shows what's going on in the corner of the screen. And we could use these for a lot of different things. You could use them for RTSs. You can use them for first-person shooters. You can use them for a lot of different things. And I'm going to try and show you how to set this up. And so basically what we're going to do is, to start off, is I'm going to import the character control package. The reason we're doing this is because we're going to need to have some gameplay to show for our minimap to actually have anything to it. And this gives us a really easy first-person controller to set up. So we're going to set up as a first-person shooter with a top-down minimap type thing. So this gives us that. I'm going to go ahead and create a plane.
Oh, not a big quad?
I don't have the quad yet. I did not update yet. I'm sorry.
I haven't yet either.
Yeah, so. But I'm going to update. I'm super excited about it. Thank you, Unity. I don't even care what orientation is in. I can work with that. At least there's now a quad built in. I don't have to keep telling people, well, you can make it in a 3D program or find one on the asset store or something, because you really shouldn't use the plane, even though the plane will totally work.
It will work, but you're dealing with, what is it, 10 by 10 with 2 polys on each section. So that's 200 polygons for essentially a quad. Like, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm very happy to have this quad.
So ridiculous. So I'm going to get rid of our main camera. I'm going to add a directional light.
Turn off.
Yeah, main camera turn off. The reason we're doing that is because the character controller comes with a camera.
Yeah. It's fully equipped.
So if we hit play here, we can move around as if we had a first-person shooter. It's kind of hard to tell on this very tiny plane. So we're going to actually, make that bigger and make it a little bit more. Okay. I wish that didn't come up on my screen, but whatever. First-person controller. That's Justin. He's my partner on Proton Pulse, and he's working on making the incredibly awesome Ouya version, Oculus Rift version. Yeah, so we already have the Ouya version. So, and we're going to be hopefully using Pro for that. Although we need to figure out how we're going to get the funding for Pro. It's going to make a big old area for us to be in. And let's create a couple of objects or just landmarks to work with. So I'm going to create a sphere Let's make a new shader so this has a different color. We're going to call it. Oops, not a shader. That's not what I wanted to do. Come on, computer. We should be running in higher frame rate now too. We hopefully everything is working as expected. Do we have sound? Am I volumed out? Yes, good. I'll make sure I didn't make that mistake. I guess people would have complained by now already. So we want to create a new material, and all we're going to do is just do a diffuse material with different colors. So I'm going to make a red one. Let's make it red and put it on our sphere.
Ooh, red.
Yes, red.
I do like red.
And let's make the sphere. Let's make the sphere big. Let's make it 5 by 5.
That is a big sphere.
So we got a big sphere. I'll just float it somewhere. You can go over there, and then let's create like a cube or something. And we'll make this, create a new material, we'll call this green, and we'll make this green.
Oh, okay, good. I thought you might make it blue or something.
Oh yeah, well we might do a blue as well, might as well.
No, just call green blue, or make a thing called green,
yellow,
and then...
Oh, and make it the wrong color? Yeah, I see what you're saying. I have done that before, I think, even on this show. Doesn't matter what you call it, except for, you know, it might matter to some people who care about things. So there we have a very simple scene. We're just going to start with that for right now. We might add some more doodads as we go along.
Big green.
So we have a big red sphere and a big green cube. And that's all we have.
Neato.
So we want to be able to see this scene from the top in a mini-map. And so first of all, I'm going to make sure that the main camera here actually is tagged as main camera. It is good. It doesn't matter too much, but I just want to make sure in case I make any assumptions about that. So we're going to create another camera.
By the way, there's a comment in here that says, "I would love to see you guys do a rundown of the new Unity," which sure we could
rundown
do
on it.
point,
Like
yeah.
what's?
I don't know what to do with it, but
Okay, yeah.
we could make a whole bunch of quads.
Yeah, I guess we could have the quadisode. Actually, I'd be down with doing a quadisode.
Yeah.
In honor of the quad. All right, so this is another camera, and right now, so first of all, I'm going to get rid of the audio listener on it because Unity will complain at you if you don't. It'll say that every time you have 2 audio listeners, you should really only have 1. Their audio system assumes that you only have 1 source of audio, and so if you want to do something fancier, you have to kind of do that yourself manually. So so first of all, if we hit play right now, you'll see that even though I have a second camera in the scene, we're not seeing it rendering anything. And the reason for that is when we created this camera, it's at a higher depth. Wait, is it at a higher depth? I thought it was at... So, main camera, this is it. Oh, yeah, it's at the same depth as our camera. So it's a crapshoot, actually, as to which one will actually render first. So if we set its depth to 1, it will render, I believe, after the main camera, or was it before? Okay, so it'll render after the main camera. So now you can see that I'm not actually looking around. I actually am moving and looking around, believe it or not. It's just that this is just the static camera that we've put in the scene. So one of the things we can do is if we change the clear flags on here to depth only, when we hit play, now we have a kind of a weird looking thing. Now, this is actually what we've done for our HUDs in previous episodes. Yeah. You can see that the camera angle is there, and wherever the sky is, when I look down, you can see what I'm seeing with the main camera. And this is just overlaid directly onto our camera. So for a minimap, it's really the same concept, except we're going to actually just overlay it on the corner of the camera, and we're not going to clear depth only. We can do a full clear on it because we're only clearing a portion of the screen. So the way you can adjust that is by changing the normalized viewport rect settings here. So what this actually means is this is basically, in a 0 to 1 sense, how wide is your camera? 1 is the width of the screen. How tall is your camera? 1 is the tallness of the screen. And the zeros here are the offset from the corner. So if we change this... Now,
are those X and Y's on a basis of 1?
They're on a basis of... Yes, but all of these are on a basis of... It's called viewport space is what it's called in Unity. Viewport space is in a 0 to 1 standard. Screen space is in pixel standard, and world space is in meter unit standard, which is what you usually work in for doing 3D stuff and 2D stuff. So what I'm going to do is, just to get the bearings on this, I'm actually going to make it so it can just see this cube, so that we can see the extents of the screen very easily. Just going to zoom it right in on that cube. There we go. So now if we hit play on the game, we cannot see anything. We can just see that.
Which is unfortunate.
But this will allow us to see exactly what we're doing. Not exactly because the key, it's all green. So if I offset this by 0.5 and 0.5 and hit play, you'll see now that we have a corner rendering, this blocking portion of my screen. That's actually the other camera. We're now on our way to our minimap. Now, the trick with this is it's actually going this to also back to here.
Are you still streaming with your face in the corner, by the way?
Am I? Oh, dang it. I am. Let me turn that off. Main screen. I don't think there was anything in that corner right now anyway, but thank you for the reminder.
Yep, no worries.
So, I think the audio listener down here probably didn't get to see.
You couldn't see the settings, that your head was in the way.
Yeah.
So
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. This is why I keep an eye out on the chat.
So the thing is, right now it's actually viewing more than this portion of the screen. Like if I was to cut off, so if I was to go back in here and adjust the camera a little bit so that we can see on the right-hand side here, I'm going to go ahead and do that and hit play. You'll see that, oh, actually, that's not what I would have expected.
What?
I was expecting it to actually only show like halfway through, so it's actually clearing
the skybox. I mean, you could make it so it doesn't clear that.
No, I wanted to clear that, but I mean, what I'm saying is like I would have expected this green to actually be over here because I didn't change the width and height.
Oh no, I think it's actually just
okay. So that'll work. So I guess we just have to adjust the
normalized views.
Yeah. So let's do 7.5 here, and let's do 7.5 and 7.5.
That's 5.7. So now we have a little tiny one.
So now we have a little tiny one. So this is our corner thing. Now let's actually make it also so it's a little bit off the edge of the screen. So let's go 0.9 here and 0.9 here. Did that actually work? That did not. See, now it's doing what I would expect it to do. 0.5, 0.5. And yeah, so let's go 0.25. There we go, finally.
There we are. That's what I was expecting.
You see, that's what I was expecting, and that's the reason I thought it was strange that it was 1.0 and it wasn't going beyond that. I guess they do some magic in the background or something. So I'm going to go ahead and make it just a little bit taller. Yeah, and oh, dang it, I just lost all my settings. So 0.2, 0.2, and we want it to be, what is this again?
Let's go 0.5. Let's see what...
That's way too much in the corner. So actually, let's do 0.4. 0.4. That's too big.
That is too big.
0.3.
We're gonna get it eventually.
Yeah, you know, this is the fun part is the try.
And now we need more offset.
So yeah, now let's just slide the offset in and then memorize it and put it back in there. So we can just slide it around. One more notch, and then another notch up here.
So we need about 0.66.
Good. So 0.66, 0.66.
That's so bad. I don't like 0.66.
All right, 0.7. I know. And actually, that matches our 3, so that's... Oh, except for that matches it too much.
Yeah.
So
6.5. Do 6.5.
6.5. You just can't do 6.6. 6.6 is great. It's
I know.
It's 33%. We're going to do it. It's so good. It's so good.
That one has a 7 on it, and the other one doesn't.
I don't care. I'm OCD, but I am not that OCD. All right. So now we have this camera that is set up in the corner. So what we're going to do is now let's actually make it act like a mini-map. So I'm going to rotate it down to, I think it's on the X that we want. Yeah, there we go. We're going to rotate it down 90 degrees. So now it's looking down. And I'm going to position it.
We can do this actually without a script.
Yeah, we don't even need a script for this. Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah, it's.
And I'm actually going to show some other tricks that are even more beautiful about this in a second. So I'm going to just position this. I'm going to position it on the player right now. Just copy his component. So we're going to have to reset the rotation again real quick, but that's not a big deal. So paste component values, and then we'll just do. Oh, we didn't even have to. So 90. So now we can just raise this up. And I think is it pointed in the right direction? Yes.
Edit preferences play mode tint.
Edit preferences play mode
tint.
Tint.
Maybe it makes it more apparent that your play mode
preferences
play mode tint.
Oh, play mode tint. Oh!
Oh, sweet.
Smart. Let's put that red. Oh, I am so... Thank you. Thank you so much. That's too red, but...
Yeah, that is fantastic.
So
it is very
awesome.
apparent now that we were in play
Thank
mode.
you so much.
Goodness,
that's like
so
the greatest
cool.
thing in the world. Who was that? Who was that?
That was
Jeremy. Thank you, Jeremy.
Yes, thank you.
All right. Well,
Seriously,
Jeremy's
that's
literally
great.
the reason we're doing this episode, so I'm happy that. Thank you for reciprocating. That's going to change my
seriously.
life.
That will change my life as well. That is the most amazing thing in the world.
All right. There's no way I can forget that we are in play mode now. This is totally awesome. All right. So that is great.
Yeah,
so
seriously.
if we hit play now, you'll see that we can see our player, and I'm moving, and the camera's not moving, and that's because we didn't actually do the next step. I wanted to put this camera
got excited about the
into
play mode tint.
the first-person controller here.
Yeah.
And then if we hit play... Oh, okay, we don't want it there because that has some stuff that rotates it somewhere. So we're going to need actually a container for this. So we're going to create an empty object. We're going to do like FPS parent is what I'm going to call it for right now. And we're going to put it in the same position as copy component, paste component values, and we're going to parent the object here. The main reason is I just want this to be properly at 0, 0, 0 without messing anything else up. And then we're going to throw our camera up a level to here.
Yes.
And yeah, we'll just let's do 20 units so we can see a little bit further.
Yeah, do it.
So we're going to hit play.
Look at that.
And so now when we... Why did that still not work? Oh, because this is not moving. So character motor, we need to move this up, and FPS in controller. So we're going to copy component.
Isn't it just a move up was an option there?
Move up actually doesn't... Here's what move up does. If I do move up...
it just moves
yeah,
it up.
it moves it up on this. Yeah, if I hit continue, yeah, see.
That's unfortunate.
So I just undid that, although I don't think it actually undid that.
I don't think we need to
It does
worry
not
about
matter. All right, so because we're going to remove it anyway. So copy component. We're going to paste it onto here. Paste component is new. And we're going to go into the...
character motor and remove it?
Yeah, I want to get this one as well. Copy component. Paste component as new. And then we remove it from both of these. So if we go remove components...
I don't know if we want the input thing to be removed, do we?
We want the mouse look, but we do not want the character motor or the other thing. Mouse look needs to be at that lower level, though. So now if we hit play, there we go. It's working. So as I move around this, you can see that we have this nice little mini-map. Now, it's not rotating with me right now, so we need to actually figure that one out, too. Although there's...
I would actually prefer it to not rotate myself.
Okay, I've really messed something up here. Because I'm pressing S right now and I'm going forward, so this reconfiguration I did was not perfect. Let's see what we got here. So we have a mouse look on here. I guess we need to put this on. So this is the X one, so we need this one. So let's put this on. So I'm going to copy component on here, paste it onto the parent, and remove it from this one. Let's see if that works a little bit better. This might also give us the rotation we want. Oh, yeah. Oh, that's exactly what we want. Look at that. Look at it. It's awesome.
Yep.
We have a very basic mini-map, and it's actually less than basic because it will be your whole scene. It'll actually be exactly what you're seeing on the screen. Yes. Now, that, of course, is probably not what you actually want in most of your mini-maps. And guess what? There's a way, without doing any scripting, we can get this to set up so that it will even be an iconic interface rather than what we see here.
Neato.
So let's go ahead and do it with the player. What we're going to do is need some sort of object to prove that this is working. I'm going to use a capsule.
Capsule.
Because it kind of has direction information on it, and I'm going to rotate it so that it kind of points forward. And let's make it a new color. Let's do material and call it blue, and make the color blue.
Did you say ortho's better than perspective for mini-maps?
Depends on what you want to do. Probably ortho is better.
I think so as well.
Here, so let's show how easy that is to fix that. So you can adjust your values however you want on this stuff, but if you wanted to do an orthographic projection so that this cube looks like a cube, we can just set the size to some meaningful value like 50, 20, 20,
25.
20.
Or 20. Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
So I used orthographic for my entire game.
So you can see that looks just like a circle and looks like a square now because you can't see the depth to this anymore. And that actually probably is what you want. So I'm just going to leave it like that, although I'm going to zoom in a little bit more just so that we can see what's going on a little bit better.
Yeah, I do like the orthographic view myself. And it's just it's all really a matter of preference and what kind of you're going for in your style.
Yes.
I wouldn't say that one is clearly better than the other. It's just
put blue on here.
Just a preference.
So I'm going to create a new layer. And we're going to call it the minimap layer. And I'm going to assign this to the minimap layer. And we can then, I'm going to actually copy component on here again.
See, you know what else they need now that we have a quad? You know what we need now?
What?
A polygon, a triangle.
Well, you don't need a triangle most of the time, do you?
Sometimes
well,
you
sometimes it would be nice to have a triangle.
Wouldn't that be great for a mini-map? You'd have a little nice
That's
arrow.
true. That's a good
See?
point. That's a good point.
See?
Yeah, yeah.
Now we should complain about the single poly.
I can't do it. I can't do it. I can't because honestly, I'm super happy about that. I am too. I'll get the orientation and then complain about it because I'm not sure what they did as the default orientation, and I'm sure I can find something to complain about. Because there's only two that I think would be appropriate. One is the plane faces Z forward, which I think they're not going to do because it'll look like it's invisible on the default orientation.
Yeah.
Or up on the plane is Z forward, and that would be good for 2D games. Like if you had a character's eyes and you wanted them to track something on the screen, you could do that very easily with the look at command at that point. So I'm just going to make this really a little bit taller here, a little bit longer, and I'm going to go ahead and offset it just slightly so that it actually kind of points forward. Where's the offset I want? Yes, this is Z.
Now, are we actually gonna make it so the player is occluded from minimap as well?
We can adjust this. We're gonna play with it. So
Sometimes.
So let's just do that. So now we have this big blue thing. So now we have this big blue thing in the scene, and it's not parented to us at all. So let me do that real quick.
Let's parent that capsule.
So now we have this big blue thing. Oh, and it's coming out my back, evidently. Evidently, I put that the wrong way through. So let's do that so that we can definitely see it going out. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. This is going to be the greatest game ever made. Yeah! Take that. Okay. I'm done with that. So we've got a mini-map. And we've got this layer. So one of the things that's nice about layers are used for collision, but they can also be used for occlusion. You can use them as masks against rendering on cameras. This is kind of an quote-unquote advanced topic. It's super easy to set up, but people don't really talk about this use very often. So what we can do is, in this culling mask, we can have it so that it removes things. So like our main first-person controller, we don't want to see that big blue thing coming out of our torso.
Or do we?
We don't. We totally don't. Okay, maybe we do, depending on the game that you're making. But in this case, we totally don't. We're making like a shooter or something, and we don't want this big blue thing pointing out of us. So all we have to do is go to our camera, and we can set it to not render minimap. And when we go back in, you'll see that I'm not seeing that anymore, but I'm seeing it on the minimap.
Mm-hmm.
And if you wanted to go pure iconographic, we could basically you could basically put icons and systems inside of things.
Inside of your actual.
So like let's look at our FPS, our camera here. So if we go into here and we do nothing, and then we switch it to just minimap, and maybe change the background clear color to say black, we can now just see that one object that we called on the minimap. Now this isn't very interesting because we're not seeing any objects here. So let's make it so that it renders these objects as part of. So we can also adjust things so that it renders multiple layers. So let's say add a layer.
So if
minimap, yeah.
If we didn't want this to rotate, how hard would that be?
Super easy. I'll show you.
Okay.
We might have to write a script for it, but it's easy to set up. So minimap. We're going to call this minimap, and actually I'm going to call it terrain.
Good call.
going to call it terrain. It's not what we're going to use for the floor because I wanted that black background, but I think this will be appropriate. So we're going to count these as terrain, and so now these are our terrain features. And so if we go into our camera here, we can set it so that it renders minimap and terrain. And so now we have a minimap that is representative of our current orientation and direction. It only shows what we want it to show. And as you can see, we implanted this inside of our character, but we don't render it on the main screen. So if you wanted to have icons, all you literally have to do is just place icons inside of the geometry of things that you want to be iconographic. And it will show up on this rendering.
Said the mic went bad for a moment. Oh, it's fixed.
Big Blue a cylinder story. I like that. I like that a lot. So this is, we already have a neat little minimap system here. Now let's go ahead and do that one about locking the camera.
By the way, also with this occlusion stuff, you could make a different texture completely at like the bottom of your world that would be a representative of what your environment is doing. If you want a stylized like map,
yes,
as well, you could absolutely do that.
Oh yeah. You could like literally have it like replace this with a nice, beautiful
Huge
texture image thing, and you could have like if you had terrain or something, you could have like a topo map or something, and it would show up through, and it would be really great. So what we're going to do is we want to detach this from the other thing. So we are going to have to write a script for this. The main reason is because, well, maybe we won't. FPS parent. So this rotates around. Yeah, we will have to write a script. So
apparently the mic is weaving in and out.
The mic is weaving in and out?
Yeah, apparently, like, I guess we're losing audio sometimes.
Oh.
It might just be due to the live stream, but I don't know.
Oh, man. That
I hope
really
that's
bums
not the
me
case.
out.
With the final version.
Yeah. Okay, well, hopefully it'll be fine when you're not watching live. I'm glad it wasn't on the Star Fox episode, honestly.
Me too.
But I'm sorry. I apologize if there's been any technical issues for you guys. We do have a faster internet connection, and we're trying a higher frame rate because of it. We increased the bandwidth by more than double, and we didn't increase we didn't double our quality either. It should have been well safe. Oh well. That's just a bummer, if that's actually a problem. So what we want to do is we want to basically make it so this camera stays pointed forward. And so we can do that by just creating a little C# script here. We're going to call this maintain orientation.
There was also one other question is, can you make the minimap a circle?
Can you make the minimap a circle? Only if you have Pro, or you don't mind it not being transparent around it. You can make an element that will circle it like on another camera layer to make a circle around it. So like if you I don't really want to take the time to set that up right now, but basically you would let me bring on my camera so I can do stuff with my so you would basically create a texture that just has a hole, this alpha out, so that you can see through it. And so, like, say you had a top bar that has, say you're doing an RTS or something, and you have a top bar and it has like a whole bunch of elements, or maybe a bottom bar with the minimap on the corner. You could basically have this cutout that goes around it and occludes it. If you want it to actually be transparent, like if you want it to just be a floating circle, unfortunately, you're going to need Pro. The reason being is, in order to do that, you're going to need a render target, or you're going to need a screen space effect on the camera, and both of those are Pro features. I'm sorry to say, but this stuff will work in Basic, and with Pro, all you have to do is just basically try experiment with the render texture target stuff, and just render it to a circle element, or render it with an alpha circle element, and it'll work nicely. So I'm going to open up maintain orientation here, and all we're going to do on this, let's do we're going to do vector 3.
Oh, apparently they can still hear us. It's just the quality gets reduced. So I bet that might be due to a streaming issue.
I hope so. Vector 3. What are we doing? Vector 3. Euler orientation. Sorry. That looks right.
Yeah, it does.
Equals vector. Let's do vector 3 dot forward to start. And then all we're going to do is in update, we're going to do transform.rotation. Actually, rotation equals Quaternion.Euler.
I know, I always want to say Euler because it
I'm
looks
bad
like
about
Euler.
it.
But then I hear Euler and I think Bueller.
And like Ferris Bueller.
Yeah.
All right.
I
So
feel like I need to go out and
if
have an
we,
adventure.
so this is a one-liner basically. All this does is we're setting our rotation to a set rotation, and we're doing it. We're not doing local rotation. We're doing the absolute rotation. So this should. So what it'll look like is it looks like it's rotating it for its local rotation, but it'll look like it's standing still for what our purposes. So if we hit play here. I didn't actually attach the script. That might help. Let's put that on the camera and hit play.
Now something terrible.
Okay,
happened.
so I know what happened. Probably should have defaulted this to something more useful, but I'm going to leave it at this because that's probably the most useful configuration. Transformer.forward is not looking down at our stuff.
Oh yeah.
So, and I'm going to get rid of my camera again, even though I just used the hands again. I do the hands a lot when I don't have the camera up. So what we want to change this to is we're just going to go into our camera here. We're going to look at our maintain orientation, and we're going to realize that I didn't put a public here. And so now we should see, there we go, Euler orientation. We're going to change it to 0, and we want it to be -1 in the y. And so if I hit play here, that still wasn't right. How about just 1 in the y?
Let's try 1 in the y.
Okay, I'm probably mistaking this somehow. So wait. Oh yeah, these are degrees. This is not okay. This is not a lookout. Let's actually change it to a lookout. Look rotation. Vector 3 forward. Perfect. This is what we'll do. Orientation. This will be a much easier way to work with it, other than instead of having to deal with degrees and all that stuff. So now, if we do -1 in the y, this should work. Play. Okay, it's working, but it's looking a little twitchy.
Yeah, a little twitchy.
Little twitchy.
That might be due to the Euler angles, though.
No, it's
no.
I don't think that's what it is. So let's see if we can fix that. I'm going to try changing this to late update. And see if that works. There we go.
And that absolutely works.
So the reason that the reason I had to change it to late update is because what was happening was these scripts were happening first. So the mouse look thing was happening first. I was rotating it. It was totally rotating, and then it was rotating back and fighting it on the next frame.
Yes.
Or maybe it was doing a second. I don't know. One of the orders was messing it up. And so late update happens happens after all of the update loops. The other thing you could have done is changed the priority on this to happen after everything else. Late update is an appropriate use in this case, though. This is a perfect use for it. If you want to set an orientation or change an angle or change a position, and you want that to be the absolute what goes in the frame, late update is your man. So now if you hit play, you can see that the character is now rotating, and when we move around... Oh, whoa, what? Oh my goodness, what is going on?
Oh, you're flying.
Why am I flying?
Because why not?
What? What's going on? Why am I... What? Okay, I was not expecting this one.
Why are you flying? That's the real question.
Huh.
Let's see.
Huh. And if I don't have the script on, do I fly? I'm not moving forward. What did we break? When did we break this?
Why is it flying?
Oh, did I rotate our first-person controller at some point?
Maybe.
Main camera. Did I rotate the FPS parent? No. What?
I'm so confused.
Why is it doing this to me? Okay, it's working now. Except for when I move backwards. It's really... I bet you I know what the problem is. This capsule, I think, has collision. Yeah. That was dumb of me. Let's get rid of this and see if things work a little bit better now.
What was it?
So I think I was colliding with the blue capsule somehow.
Oh, that would make sense.
So let's go ahead and turn this back on again. I got rid of the collider completely. So now let's switch back to... There's a lot of little details in these things, aren't there? Let's go back to maintain orientation, and if we hit play... Alright, now it's working like we'd expect. So you can see us carting around this. And this is very much like the Doom map or earlier games and stuff. This is much rarer in modern games. It's still pretty standard in RTSs to have a fixed map, but it's also pretty standard in RTSs to have kind of a fixed camera angle too, so it's appropriate to that. But yeah, if you prefer this type of map, you can totally do it. So I'm actually going to wrap that up. As I said, we were going to have a shorter episode today because I have an appointment. Thank you guys for watching the show.
Seriously.
Was there any questions that we didn't get to on here?
No, I don't believe so. I tried to address them all as I came by them. Yeah, I think that's about it.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for joining us tonight.
Yeah, we really appreciate you coming by and watching the show live, especially. Like that's really awesome to have people chatting.
It's so much fun now that there's actually people here. We when we did the show live on Justin.tv, it was actually super fun with the people that were there, but it was like 2 people. And
yes, it was.
2 great people, though.
The Cooking with Unity vets.
Yes, they are. So thank you for joining us tonight. If you have any questions or comments or concerns or want to cuss us out or anything, email me at pushypixels@pushypixels.com. You can also tweet me at Drakfire.
If you want to email me, you can, for some reason. If you were just like, hey, I don't like the way you sound, or hey, I want to write you a nice message. The second one I prefer. You can email me at philip@protosoftworks.com. You can also follow me on Twitter, and that's at magmalemur. Additionally, you should buy Proton Pulse. Buy Proton Pulse. Buy Pushy Pixels. Buy any of the fine Pushy Pixels products. Buy them.
Don't. Okay. Yeah, I'm not going to tell you not to buy it.
No,
buy it all.
You should definitely buy them.
All right. And you should definitely buy Robot Alone. It is now actually called that. It is called Robot Alone on the App Store. Phil's game is awesome. Proto Softworks is a great company, and it is all Phil.
Yeah, it's all me.
And so definitely support him, and it's a fun game. Get a high score. Like we love to do. Beat his high score. That's the greatest honor we can possibly have as game developers, is to have our high scores beaten. So
I've been number 1 at that game since it came out. Then again, I have played it more than anyone else in the entire world, I'm sure. But someone needs to beat my high score, and it can't just be my brother.
Yeah.
Okay, I was number 2 for a little while, but
he actually got
I
beat
overcame my brother.
Yeah. I no one's beaten mine or Justin's score on Proton Pulse, and it's honestly a pretty
beat
big
the score on Proton Pulse. Too.
Yeah, it's a challenge because Justin went through like 2.5 worlds. Actually, I think he went through 3 worlds on that game without continuing, which is amazing. I'm not that good nearly. Anyway, thank you for joining us tonight, and you guys have a great week.
Yeah, have a fantastic week.
And now we're going to banter for a little bit just because we want to have about a minute of running time afterwards so that we don't cut anything off on the show.
Also, what was said at one point is he said you could record it, Jeremy said, you could record your desktop in one video and you in the other video and then post them both on YouTube for people to dual screens to watch on each screen.
Actually, that would be kind of an interesting thing. The problem is, and we had sound problems as it was, we don't have good internet here. We did upgrade it. And actually at like no extra monthly cost. They did have to come in, and it's a bonded connection. I don't know what that means. I think it means that there's like 2 DSL connections that come in, and they combine them into one using some sort of black magic. And so we had a tech come out for that. So we have a much better bandwidth now, although I am really shocked about the audio thing. I'm a little bit worried about that. So hopefully...
I'm not really sure what challenge he accepted, but I'm happy about it. But
yeah, all right. Whatever challenge you accepted.
Oh, maybe it was beating high scores.
In which case, excellent. Then yes, challenge accepted. Exactly.
Do that.
God, we weren't even thinking. We got to think 1 minute in the past. We got to think 4th dimensionally, Marty.
Will we be back Tuesday the 30th? We won't be back on Tuesday. We'll probably be back on Monday.
We'll be back on Monday the 29th.
Holidays no man.
It might be Tuesday the 30th if you guys are on a different time zone, like we are worldly here. So if you're on some other part of the world, it might be Tuesday.
Yeah, we will.
It
typically, I think we don't.
8:30 p.m. Pacific Daylight Standard Time.
Yeah,
that's PDT. So just look up PDT in, just say like timezones.com or something, and PDT. Actually, don't ever go directly to a .com. Search for it on the internet. I know you guys already know that. Um,
Yeah. I think
So-
we don't typically take holidays off, do we? We just kind of keep doing it.
yeah, well, we take
That
off
can be
days.
extenuating.
We take off days if we have to.
circumstances
Like
and
if our lives get busy to the point where we can't do it, we can't do it. And so occasionally it's sickness or like life problems and stuff. We try to do it every week because we actually love doing this. So it's not like this is something that's like, oh man, we have to do an episode. Occasionally it is just because it'll be like, oh man, I worked the weekend and I wish I had a weekend. It's just that kind of thing will happen occasionally. But yeah, we have such a blast doing the show. So in general, you can find us on Mondays, and in general, it's going to be at 8:30 p.m. I'll try to give people a heads up if it shifts time or shifts slots, and we try to make things up too. If we miss an episode for whatever reason, we try to make it up later in the week. We don't always succeed, but we do try.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you very much for joining us, and you guys have a great week.
Have an excellent week. Seriously, thanks very much for joining us.
Yeah, you guys rock.